So you find the cross in ancient Egypt, in the Middle Kingdoms and all that, don't find it that much, and you find it again with the Gnostics about 300 BC. The cross comes out again in this shape. Now, there's a very strange thing here. The cross here has a circle here. Because if you don't have a circle, if you're drawing that, like if you draw it like that, you are touching the center too much, and you don't have the components anymore. But when you come like that and then draw, so the center is still there, it's encircling it, you're not putting, the moment you put a point, if you draw a circle like that, you have the three components coming out here, those components of spirituality. If you come and say, this is my center, and put a point, you lose it. Because the center is a shape, again, that has a center. So it's elusive. The center just seems to vanish away into another center. So you should point to the awareness of the center without touching the center. And with this idea, we have here this geometrical shape. And this is a biogeometric shape that recreates the energy of a power spot, I mean, on your body. Now, the first thing we are going to ask now, okay, why should we revive all that? I mean, why should we, in first place? What will it do for us today, whether I use interfaces in my building, whether I revive centers, why should I do that? Okay, somebody can ask, yeah, why should I? I'm very happy with what I'm doing, why should I? Because we said in the beginning, unless you can find the solution to our main problems, to electromagnetic fields, to earth radiation, to all those things, whatever you're doing is not worth it. So the first thing you're going to ask me, now, it's well and done, we sat with you now for 2 days, we heard some nice stories, some nice things, but unless this thing has validation, I mean, we can't really see the effect. I want to see validation of what happens when I introduce this balancing energy into something. Like I said, you introduce in all our activities. Okay, show me an example of using it in the activity to convince me that this was really the most important thing, this energy principle, this balancing thing is so important that it is the center of all architecture of all life through the ages. Show me some validation. When you are doing something that important, we shouldn't go the way of most alternative sciences who shy away from validation, because many people in alternative sciences will tell you, why should I start doing validation? Because a homeopath, for example, will tell you, okay, we are treating according to an energy principle, like amplifying the energy of the immune system, like treating like with like to accentuate the systems of the immune system and all that. And then when I give a remedy, the remedy is actually, if it's water or alcohol, there's nothing in it, it's just energy. Now, to explain that, to give that in a laboratory, and they test it, and they tell you it's water or it's energy. So from the beginning, I mean, why should I spend my time speaking to somebody who speaks a totally different language? And I've seen that happen all over the world with homeopaths. They go to the laboratories of the Ministry of Health, they catch a medicine here from the shelf and one here and all that, and they put it there and they tell them this is pure water, there's nothing in it, or this is pure alcohol, this is fraud. I mean, they don't understand that about the energy principle. So people tell you, why should I go to the, let's say, conventional orthodox medicine to let them test what I am doing? Because I know they're against it from the beginning, you see. But we should not act like that. Because, remember, somebody standing in the mainstream if you shy away from convincing them just because they will attack you or something like that, you will never jump in the mainstream. So we have to do validation here. The first thing is, when I started doing biogeometry, how do you validate? You start validating by showing how we can use it to balance things that we know are problematic, whether it's human health, whether it's plants, whether it's animals, whether it's that, show something. In Egypt, they asked me to join a national liver project for hepatitis C research. And they were comparing chemical drugs like interferon and things like that, very strong chemotherapy, with herbal medicines, with some Chinese herbs and all that. They wanted to know what is available for virus C, because there's no cure for that. Some people get cured, but at the end, it's a very detrimental disease. So they thought, okay, this guy is an architect. He has no idea what the virus C is. So he'll probably come with his shapes and think that with some geometrical shapes he can cure people who need a liver transplant. I mean, let him come and try something like that. And at that time, I was speaking, judge working environment, working spaces, and that. And when they come and tell me, okay, they send me a letter, you have to join the hepatitis C research program and show what biogeometry can do. So send us the remedy that we're going to use. So I thought, well, I can't send you anything, because I go into the person's home, balance the colors, balance this, balance this. I don't have a medicine. They said, no, we saw you give rings and give things to people and they get cured. So I said, yes, but we have biosignatures and we analyze every person's energy. Then we engrave them with an engraver on his ring or on something like that. So it's very personal. I mean, it's nothing I can come in a big research project. And they said, no, we want 300 of your rings or something. And at that time, a computer specialist friend of mine told me, well, you know what, we can take your signatures, and if you will not have the possibility to sit with the people to see what they need, because if the person is individual, I can take about 300 or 400 of those signatures and sort of make them very small on the computer and give them, according to computer technology, the way they make integrated circuits and chips, and said we will put them in on the computer, and then we'll have aluminum chips and the laser will go out and on the anodization, and we will make sort of laser imprinted chips for you. And they should actually, when you put all the 200, so everybody will take what he wants, exactly like the computer. You have all the functions in there, and everybody can use what he wants. So I thought, okay, let's try it. And we made those chips. They were aluminum chips like that. And we sent 300 of the chips to this. It was the pharmaceutical department of who was doing the research, so they were biased to begin with. And I sent it there. And then they told me the pharmatone and not interferon. Interferon was the most potent one. It was the chemotherapy, but it was the one that really, at the end, was most effective. But the problem is that you needed a certain level of immunity to take it, and if you take it, your immunity will drop, so half the people will fall out on the way. So the results were around, usually when you read results about interferon, they tell you, okay, 50% cure. But it's 50% of the ones who are left, not of the ones who are discarded on the way. And it ends up that really it's about 25% cure in there. And they told me if you manage anywhere above 20%, you should be okay, because you'll be above the herbal remedies, above such things. You should be okay with that. I said, I don't know, that's not the way I work. If I don't have the opportunity to go to somebody's house to see if there's Earth's radiation under his bed, to see, all that, how can I work? And so I said, I'll give it a try. But there, it's because I work as an architect, I build lots of projects for the government. I do all that, so I cannot just back out of anything. It's either you have it or you don't have it, if it's serious or not serious. So we went into the project, and at the end of about the first 2 weeks, they were doing the first tests, first results, and we had a 90% result with BioGeometry. So everything in Egypt, everything went upside down, you know. And the dean went once and he said it on TV, and something that Ibrahim got with us at the university, 90%. And so I told them at the end, don't, you say 90% and don't expect the 90% to go down to about 60 or 70%, because we didn't do the whole thing. Because if this guy goes back and sleeps, his bed still on Earth radiation, or if he's a pilot and in the middle of all those electromagnetic fields and all that, but they didn't want to listen to all that. You see, when you just want that minded, okay, look, they said, okay, we got the 90%, okay, thank you, and just don't bother us with what is going to become less if I don't see their homes or if I don't see what, forget about all that. And it's this that we have to go through by showing design, very simple geometrical design using color and shape, can make such a huge difference in something that is really important, and then the people start listening to you. Then you can build houses that way, you see, but first validate it in something that really matters.
If termites are in the building, does that mean there's bad energy? Because in Florida, it's a very...
I know there is one of the people who were with us last year here is called Vince Kubilius, and he had termite problem in his house. And he corrected the termite problem with just two, you know, those little round stickers like that, the very, very tiny ones that you don't, very, very small. He got a green one and the red one and placed them in the right place. And once he got his energy there, his house was free of termites. You'll learn that tomorrow, little dots like that. You'll learn how to do that. Now, once he did it, the house was free of termites. He got another problem, and he told me his wife was mad at me for the other problem, that the pigeons started coming around the house. And so every day she had to clean the balcony. But I told him, look, once you make a spiritual power spot, I mean, pigeons, it's a nice thing. And he said, yes, but not when my wife has to clean every day. But at least he got rid of the termites. And then Jared, who's a friend of his, who was also having problems with insects, little spiders and ants in the house and outside the house, he placed two dots, very small dots of color. Of course, you don't have to go, this needs very good fine-tuning if you want to solve a big problem with just two dots. But he managed to do it, 2 dots of colors in the house, in 2 corners inside the house, and 2 dots of colors on the extremity of the site. With the first ones, he completely cleared his house of ants, of spiders, if nothing came in. Then he did the one in the garden, and they stopped coming in that area. So you could, you see...
Somebody told me that if there are a lot of ants, it means that there's a water vein.
Well, that's it. Earth radiation is crossings.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's the same thing. But don't take that, I mean, every time you find ants that you say, I have Earth radiation, because ants could come if you leave some sugar around. I mean...
Can you discover these energy spots by not being at the site when you do it from a floor plan or from a site plan, or do you need to be there?
No, we usually like to work away from the site.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, first I work on a map, I work on some... You're going to learn tomorrow when you go through radiesthesia how to work at a distance, because I said that time and space really don't matter. So if I wanted to test if I have Earth radiation under your bed, let's say. It's very easy to do when you're here. I don't have to go there. I could just do it and tell you how to correct it. So we'll do that tomorrow. I'll show you how to work and do things at a distance. The thing is, today, and we've achieved a sort of a change in our way of looking at things. Now, tomorrow, we have 3 days of radiesthesia. The first day is the concepts, how we study the instruments, the theoretical background and all that. And then the second and third day, we are going to apply that in everything that you do. You're going to apply that when it comes to things choosing biosignatures, whatever you do. Now we spoke about biosignatures. Let me give you a word or two about biosignatures. Biosignatures here are a way of interacting with the body in let's say I have my balancing energy come in. Now I want to pass through the fat layers of the body. You know that the fat layers of the body, they store energy. And they store energy, that means they protect your energy system. It's like the insulator around the wire. You know, if you have a wire, if you didn't have the insulator, then my hand would come, and if I bring it near any electrical thing like that, let's say here I have the mic, and there's a field around it, I bring my hand around the mic, I wouldn't be able to move it. You see, it would just fall down. Now, because something would be disturbing the whole, because the wires here wouldn't be shielded. Now, but I can move it because they're insulated. I'm completely insulated. My energy system cannot be, I can't just pass beside something and all of a sudden lose my energy to it. No, I'm insulated. And this insulation doesn't mean that I'm a closed energy system because I'm totally insulated. I have windows inside the shielding, and they are the acupuncture points, they are the chakra points, and all those windows. And the windows, what are windows for in a house? This is the 20-second acupuncture lesson, okay? In 20 seconds only, from the architectural point of view. Huh? No. Windows are made so that you look and see what's happening outside the house. So the same thing, your energy system is closed, shielded, but it wants to see what's happening outside. So your system can interact and balance itself with what is happening in the whole universe from the distant star to here. Your system, you're an energy system that must take into consideration all that. And so it has windows to look, so it's looking outside, and through those windows it is in constant harmony, in constant balance with all that. Now, in acupuncture, we're doing something a bit different. We're peeking from the windows inside the house, you know. We go, sneaking through the back door. We go, I am using the points to access the energy system, you know. It's not made that for that. It's made for the energy system to look outside and enjoy the scenery, not made for us to go and peep through. But sometimes when there is a disturbance and I can't go through the door, I go and knock through the window. Okay? So this is the way we are shielded. Now, I want this certain energy, this balancing energy, to bring it inside the energy functions of my body, if I want to use it with the body. So, first of all, I ask myself, what do I want it to resonate with? The first, an easy way, I want to enter into resonance with my heart. Okay? I just draw a heart with the ventricles, with all that, with the valves and everything. Okay. Now, if I come near this drawing, and this drawing is in my energy field, will a resonance of shape happen between this shape and the similar shape inside my body? Or instead, not to give you my back, I'll do that. If I put my hand like that, will a resonance between this and my heart happen? Okay, that means you can use an anatomy book to balance your energy system, can't you? Every organ that you feel a bit upset about, you just take the picture and keep looking at it for some time. You'll balance it. Within a certain extent, you'll balance it just by looking at the picture.
So what if the picture is a real picture of somebody's...
No, not that, an anatomy diagram. If you take a picture from a real person, you'll enter into resonance with the real person. He might be, I don't know, the picture might be of a sick person. No, an anatomy diagram. Now, this is only taking into consideration the shape. The more detail I put, the more detail I enter into resonance with. So here, the level of detail, we call that entering to resonance. That means I've opened a path to access the heart without opening. You see, I can access it through resonance. So we use resonance of shape for what we call navigation within the energy system. Navigation here means not only between the organs, but also size-wise. My navigation, I could draw a DNA, and then I navigate on DNA level. I could draw a cell, navigate on cell level. I can draw whatever I draw will pull my navigation into that level, you see. So I can use drawings on any level to enter into resonance. Now, when you work on the energy level, then it is more logical to work on energy anatomy. You see, in acupuncture meridians, they are lines of energy in the body. So usually, you can diagnose an energy meridian at a distance, irrelevant. The person could be in China, could be here, could be anywhere. You can diagnose a meridian and correct it at a distance, because it's energy. If it's made of energy, then I can enter into resonance with it very easy. Now, and I'll show you how to do that. You're going to do this exercise in the next 3 days with diagrams. Now, instead of looking at the heart, why don't I try to analyze the energy flows within the heart itself to find an energy anatomy within the heart? So what we started doing many years ago was we tune our instrument to one frequency, one type of energy, and follow it. You might have one going like this, something you follow it and it turns out to be going like this, and then like this. Okay? So you follow it. Then you adjust to another one, you find another one, another frequency in there. How will it move? Let's say it might move like this, and then go like this, and then turn like this. Then you start tracing a third one and the fourth one and all that, until you have traced the whole wire mesh of energy that is sort of on which matter is superimposed, on which the physical matter is superimposed. Now every one of those flows here has a different frequency, so that they don't cancel each other out, they're superimposed, and each one is somehow linked to a certain function in the heart. Now, when I draw one of those, now when I look at this, they are in direct resonance now with the function inside. Irrelevant of the small shapes and all that, they are in resonance. So this is a biosignature of a certain function of the heart. So it's in resonance with it. Now, with the biosignatures, we work a bit on the tips here in such a way there are small bendings here in the tips. At the entry of every biosignature, we work here on the tip, because when you have a straight line like that and you come and make a small thing like that, you create a center here. So when the energy goes in or goes out, it gets impregnated with the balancing energy. So, but it has to be measured, because when in a diagram like that, one direction could bring it, and the other, if the energy is flowing in this direction, if you do it in that direction, it will just block it. So it's very delicate which one you choose. You can't draw it any way and just bend. It has to be done exactly like it's in the books. Now, I have this, I have the balancing energy, and I have resonance. That means I can bring the balancing energy into the organ. Now, what happens if an organ has some imbalance? And I bring a biosignature. I can draw it on the hand or put it here. What happens is that resonance, once the biosignature is in my energy field or in my field, energy will flow into it, moves into it. If there is exactly the same pattern inside the body, resonance will occur. Now, if there's this biosignature, if you draw it wrong, nothing will happen. It's just like anything on your clothes, or like those drawings or anything. They don't make so much difference. They would affect your energy up and down, 1 or 2% up and down, but not really much. So it's either resonance or nothing. You can't go wrong here. You've either opened the door or not opened the door. With resonance means you've opened the door. And what happens in resonance, like two musical chords, you amplify the sound.
So what if you don't have it inside for that?
Nothing will happen.
No, but
Inside you, with the biosignatures are, let's say, are taken from the energy paths inside you. So when you put them, they enter into resonance with them.
so even if
You can't say I don't have it inside me. I mean, you're made that way.
So even if you have something out of balance, it doesn't mean that it imbalanced that biosignature inside. So then when you put the
No, if you have something out of balance, you bring a biosignature, resonance will occur. When resonance will occur, it will sort of like having, dust on something and you throw it off. So when resonance occurs, you're amplifying the effect of the biosignature and balance.
The biosignature inside isn't really what's out of whack. It's in it trying to resonate, and then that's what's getting thrown out of whack.
It could be out of whack too, because, I mean, if any energy flow is blocked for some reason, you could say the biosignature is out of whack, okay? I mean, sometimes all it needs for this flow inside, if one of them is disturbed a bit, just a jolt, and it's like,
It's not actually changing the shape of the biosignature.
no,
is what I'm saying.
no.
When it's out of balance.
No. You could say, for example, when you speak about shape of biosignature, if you look at an organ that is diseased, the diseased organ might have some changes in shape. Now, if the flow of energy in it will follow that shape, so the biosignature might change a bit, but it's not in essence, just in size a bit with the organ. So this is the concept of biosignatures, that it's a way of bringing this balancing energy of spiritual power spots into the system. And even if you didn't have the balancing here, the sort of harmonic resonance will still be effective. But we always want to put the spiritual aspect with it there to achieve a better effect, because that's the actual good balancing. You need balance to bring it inside the organ. Now, this is what we say here. This is not a form of medicine. This is a support to any existing form. You can use it with anything. You can use it with homeopathy, you can use it with herbal remedy, you can use it with acupuncture. I mean, biogeometry is, like I said, qualitative physics. by the time you apply it, then all of a sudden it comes out completely different depending on what you apply it on. So there's no field in life where we cannot apply biogeometry, because it's like you saw in architecture, we apply it everywhere. And what we're going to do tomorrow is first learn how to measure the components. What are the components? We have to learn a bit radiesthesia, irrelevant of biogeometry first. What is physics of radiesthesia, qualitative physics? Then I'm not at the end so interested in applications, let's say, beyond the components, because once you know that we are seeking this energy of balance, so usually your whole work is either looking for it or creating it, you see. This is your whole work. So why I'm not interested then in using radiesthesia. There are so many in water dowsing to find water well, let's say. Okay, you could do all that, but you know, once you find your real treasure, and the energy, this balancing energy of power spots, you spend your life interacting with it, because that's the thing that balances everything, whether it's architectural, that you spend your life doing it. Now, when we are speaking about electricity, when we're speaking about earth radiation, when we're speaking about all that, all you have to do is create the components of the sacred power spots in it, inside the harmful energy field. And what happens is, it will balance it, the energy field will become beneficent to you. So this is a way, and this is a very effective way with earth radiation, because earth radiation has a tendency to play around with you. Earth radiation can actually shift, can move, can, you could, if you put something to block it, it could go around it. It could go through it after some time. Earth radiation is very tricky. Those lines can change. So instead of trying to block it or shoot it another way, some people get sort of put something with like shooting arrows like that in different directions and put it under the bed. So if you have earth radiation coming up, it gets moved to the side. Well, that's not very nice to your neighbors, is it? Okay, is that ethical? I mean, shoot it that way? Yes, but you're shooting it at somebody else.
And you're still going to get it back.
Even if you don't get it back, I mean, why? I mean, if you deflect anything to somebody else, I mean, why deflect it to somewhere else? So even if it's coming out of the earth, and you put something to reflect it back in, earth is getting rid of something and you push it back in, I mean, no? Well, that's what we do. If you just change the quality, then leave it as it is, just change the quality. Now, what will the change of quality do? Now, when we went and made some research in Holland with agricultural research, the idea there was we had some people from so many different movements who were concerned about all life forms, and they were always telling those people at the university, you're killing the bacteria, you're doing this, you're doing this, you cannot kill any life form and all that. And they were concerned about biogeometry. They thought they thought this was very similar to those, you know, electrical resonators that make energy to drive away pests and things like that, and or something that would kill a certain species, and they thought we were putting shapes to kill a certain species, to kill parasites. And I told them, no, we're not doing that, what you're doing. And we explained biogeometry. We transform the whole orchard into a sacred power spot. Now, this is what happens, and this is very strange. Everything in there goes to the place it is intended to be in. Because what's really happening is those little parasites, they are moving according to natural laws. But now you bring electromagnetic waves that distort their orientation. How can they take right decisions if you are distorting their orientation. And then you say they're coming into the house. I mean, they don't want to come in your house. Why does a bee come in the house? The bee wants to go for a flower. Why does it come in your house? The orientation is distorted. We have put so much distortion in there. And another thing, there are some parasites that if you have, let's say, apples here, and then one is decaying, what would you do? Take that, the one that's decaying, you take it out. Nature does the same thing. You have trees. One is decaying, one is a very weak tree. The parasites go and take that one out. It's a natural thing. Now you bring your electromagnetic waves and weaken the immunity of all the trees. Now, the parasite's not to blame. It is programmed to cancel or attack the weak tree. Now they're all weak. You see? So what we do, when we just make this energy, this balancing energy there, they showed me, the professors there, when I went there, of course they know about agriculture much better than me, they showed me how they don't need any more instruments or pendulums or things to place the colors to get this energy. What they do is they take an apple tree, they take the leaf like that, and you have a worm, let's say, on the leaf. And then we had color pegs that we placed in the ground. They take the color and move it around. And at a certain spot, the worm gets agitated and jumps off the leaf. But once it's off the leaf, it feels it's okay. I mean, even if we cut the leaf, put it on the ground, keep the worm in it, it's happy on it. We put the color there, the worm will jump and stay beside the leaf, but not on the leaf. If we were hurting the worm itself, it would be agitated everywhere. No, this was not happening. Just it goes off the leaf and then it feels okay. That means its original place in nature is not on that leaf. Now once the balancing energy comes there, it knows, now the immune system of the leaf of the tree got activated, it feels it, it jumps off, and it goes, it must have a certain reason to be there. Now where is that reason, what is it doing? It will find it, it will go back and find it. So we just placed a few colors and finish, no parasites, nothing. Now, you know, if you do any organic agriculture,
But how do you place the colors? I mean, strips of paper or
you'll learn that tomorrow. You can use a strip of paper. We use wooden pegs. Wooden pegs that are colored, because paper would just fly off and so we just, what happened when we did that? In organic agriculture, you get a low yield. You get 20% lower yield per acre than normal agriculture, because when you put vitamins, chemicals and all that, you get bigger fruits and you get much more. So the farmer is unhappy to begin with to work in organic agriculture. And then you're adding so many secondary plants and all things around it that it costs more at the end. So in Holland they were thinking, now, okay, we can convince our people, but when we enter into a competition, when we have European Union, when we have all that, how can I convince an Italian in Sicily down there to pay more for my apples because they are healthier? Everything. So they asked me to come there and do, and we did the placement, and what we came out, a much higher yield per acre. We had so many more apples, and we had bigger apples, and the colors were very vivid. But the nicest thing was when we put the apples there and beside the control ones, the others decayed in about a couple of weeks, and those for 3-4 months they were there. They didn't need any type of preservation or anything like that. And since then we went into, we did the apples, we did potato seeds, we did so many things there, and they're very excited. We keep continuing with that. And because when we speak about affecting immune systems, when you work with human beings, somebody will come and tell you, oh, placebo effect, subconscious, and all those this stuff. Although in the virus C projects there's no placebo effect. I mean, you can convince him as much as you can. Nothing can help in virus C, but on a plant, you can't say placebo effect on a plant. You see, you can't say placebo effect on the parasites. I don't go and tell the worms, I'm here now, so go away or come. It doesn't work. So this is, I'm giving you those examples for you to see that biogeometry is not just something that will make you feel better or something, do that. No, you can actually, when you balance a place, you have the spiritual environment there, you have this balancing environment there, then your body should start getting balanced from any problems. Then you can go a step further. You can take a color, like I could say now, somebody would come up with a certain problem that he feels a certain pain or something like that, and the other would take a color and move around the room and place it somewhere, and I want this person here to feel better just by placing the color. So this is the therapeutic placement for a specific problem. Then when you take the color off, the problem comes back again. But when you do that in a house, you should really be able to see the difference. The biggest difference in a house, what we do with the electromagnetic field, is I superimpose this energy from the entry at the house, from where you have the water pipes coming in, where you have electricity coming in. And it's there that I do most of my work, to have this energy superimposed on electricity, superimposed on the pipes, and have it come all over the house. So all of a sudden, the whole electrical system, the light there is beaming healing energy. Everything is beaming healing energy. So you're not fighting